Hey DMG leaders, hope you're doing well today. This video is just a quick recap of the leaders meeting we had for DMG leaders on May 17th. And so if you weren't able to make it, no big deal, but we will keep periodically doing those check-ins so that we can get together in a room, share some stories from our groups, and hopefully just encourage each other. So that was the purpose of the meeting that we had, and the purpose of this video is just to give you all the information from that meeting so that you are in the loop. And so we know every group has had a different experience, or you're in a different season, you've got different types of people. So there's many different ways to apply some of what I'm about to share with you. But what I really want to do is just give you kind of some targets to aim at as you look at the summer, the fall, and then the winter. It's May, as you know, so we're halfway through this process already. And we've already had some really, really neat things that we've seen take place within these groups. And we're really grateful for your faithfulness. You know, one of the things that we did at our leaders meeting was we talked about this is an idealistic vision casting moment, but it's still worth thinking about. We talked about if just one person within each of your groups decides to carry on the mantle of discipleship after they're done in your group, and then they lead their own group, and somebody in their group that they lead carries on the mantle of discipleship, and so on. And if everybody from this process just has one person they disciple, who has one person they disciple, and so on, the multiplication results within the next couple of years would be amazing. Within 7 years, if that were to take place, we would have more people who have been discipled and are making disciples than we have attending our church right now on a Sunday morning. And that is possible. It's possible because of your faithfulness. And so just keep your hand to the plow. Thank you for just getting into the weeds with these people and for being the front lines of ministry. And so this is we're just here to support you. That's really what we're trying to do, is just support what God is doing through you and through your group. So let's talk about the summer. We're coming up on the summer right now, so things are going to change in terms of calendar for you and your groups most likely. So let me just give you a few things to aim at as you're looking at your summer. The first thing you want to aim at is consistency. You want to, you might have to vary the times that you meet, but you do still want to have a regular meeting time. If you have to adjust it based on people's schedules, that's great. But I would say if you pick a meeting time, then try your best to keep that time, even if not everybody can make it. It might be hard to get orchestrated with everybody on the same page, but just trust the Lord in it and keep those meeting times. And if you set a meeting time and not everybody can come, sometimes when you have not 100% attendance, those can be some of your coolest moments, because there's just something about when there's a wrench that gets thrown in things. Sometimes God shows up in a unique way. And so just consider that as you make your schedule for the summer. Also, over the summer, at some point, you will probably finish the scripture memory verses we have listed for you, and you'll also probably finish the 360-day challenges. And if and when that happens, we have a next step for you. So for the reading plan, when you're done with all the reading plans in the blue book, what we have is a New Testament reading guide that we can provide for you and for your groups. And the New Testament reading guide actually gives a breakdown of the entire New Testament in small chunks, just like what you're used to, that you can use for your daily reading and reflecting. Now, the question is, we can't get through the whole New Testament in the next 5 months, so where do we actually start? Well, we have two options for you there. You can either choose a book of the Bible yourself that you would like to work through, and then use the New Testament reading guide we give you to actually break down the days that you do your reading. So you could choose your own if you'd like that. Some of you guys just want us to tell you what to do. And so we've laid out some things for you to do as well, if that's kind of your personality. A secondary option for reading, we have provided a list of suggested reading that you can work through with your group. And the suggested reading list we will include in an attachment to this email that we're sending you. And so basically we just picked some like really key areas in the New Testament that you would get a lot out of, like Matthew 5-7, Sermon on the Mount, the book of Colossians, and things like that. And so we've got two options for you. Once you run out of reading, the key is that you have a plan and you stick to it, and it's clear and clean so that everybody knows where you're moving. And so we want to give you the tools for that once you are ready for it. Secondly, scripture memory. When you have memorized all the verses, which, by the way, one of the goals this summer, if your group is like mine, they're probably starting to forget some of the first verses that they memorized. So make sure that you are re-memorizing the old verses too. Like, make sure you touch on those, make sure you go back and revisit them. And that way you actually have a whole library of verses that you're starting to keep in your head. And so you can get creative with how you do that as a leader. We talked about some of those strategies, but I'll spare you those details right now for the sake of time. But call me if you would like some tips there. But when you do run out of the scripture memory verses, we encourage you to pick a book of the Bible or a chapter of the Bible that you memorize. If you choose a book of the Bible, you obviously need to choose a shorter book because time is of the essence. If you choose a chapter of the Bible, then we could recommend some to you, like a Colossians 1, an Ephesians 3, a Romans 8, a James chapter 1. Any of those chapters would be great ones to memorize, and we can give you other options as well. So scripture memory, Bible reading plan, and then consistency. Those are things that you're looking at as you move forward and through the summer. When you get into the fall, which in church world we consider August the fall, even though it's still summer, but for us it's kind of starts to feel like fall in terms of programming. This is when we would encourage your focus to be starting in August, for you to really start regularly talking about multiplication with your group, and for you to choose at least one person in your group who you really want to invest in, who can multiply for the next round. So if you have more than one person who's ready to lead, that's amazing. We will definitely go with that. But at least one person, and then you start letting them facilitate the group at times, and you just help them get ready for leadership. Now, for the rest of the people in your group during this August-September timeframe, we want you to make sure that you encourage each member of your group to take some sort of spiritual next step once your time is over at the end of October. So that means some of them might need to help lead within a life group. Some of them might need to go serve in kids ministry. Some of them might need to be in your DMG again because they're just not ready to be sent out. And that's totally okay. But you should try to have a next step for every single person in your group. And then as you wind down in the fall, make sure you're also celebrating all that God is doing in the group, that you don't go too fast, that you do take some time to look back and celebrate what God has done. Then lastly, let's think about the winter time, and then we'll be close to finishing up this video. When you think about the winter time, which we're saying like end of October through December, that is the recruitment phase of the new DMGs. So there's a couple months there where those who you're training and you yourself, if you are leading a group next year, which we'd love for you to, if you're leading a group next year, that recruitment stage happens November, December, early January. And so during those winter months, you are looking to recruit a new group. And that means you look at your life group to see if there's people in your life group who would be interested in being a DMG. That means if you're serving on a team like kids ministry or the welcome team, look within that, look with those people who you serve right next to, and consider inviting some of them to be in your DMG. Or thirdly, look to your general relational network. In general, you're going to be leveraging your relationships to recruit for your group. But if you have somebody at work who would benefit from being in a DMG, by all means, invite them. We would love it if other churches took on this mantle of discipleship just because you're discipling people from other churches. That would be amazing. So you have the freedom to do that, and you definitely can do that as you're recruiting your new group. So let me just kind of end with mentioning a few key dates. Those were the summer, fall, and winter goals. October 28th, we are planning to have a DMG celebration night where we want you and your groups to attend, and we'll celebrate, we'll sing, we'll eat, we'll do some fun things. And we'd love to just put a cap on this year and just make it have a clear kind of demarcation point when the groups end. So your group will meet up until that point, and then we'll celebrate on October 28th. And then we'll go into a recruitment period where your new leaders who you've recruited and trained, and then you yourself will recruit your groups into November, December, early January. And then January 21st, we will recommission groups and start this process over again, because it's just really natural to start in January when people are doing the New Year's resolutions and all of those types of things. And so I hope this video is clear. We'll send you an attachment with the agenda, which has some of this stuff on it. We'll send you an attachment with the suggested reading plan that we've mentioned. And also we're always available if you have any questions at all. We've got your back. This is what we're here for. Thank you for serving. I hope to talk to you soon.